Hi, I'm bigcal and welcome to my world. Today I'm going to be taking a look at my 2025 gaming wish list. So I did one of these last year, basically listing off stuff that I hoped would happen within the gaming world of 2024. So I'm going to go over that list from last year, see if any of it happened, and then move on to what my list is for 2025. So I'll just get my notes here so I actually remember everything. So firstly, the biggest thing really was the Switch 2. Didn't happen in 2024, but because I'm recording this at the end of January, we have finally had it revealed on January 16th. And yeah, it was revealed alright. They showed us what the system looks like and about 20 seconds of a new Mario Kart game, and that's it. Bit disappointing as of a reveal. I think they kind of just they just put it out there because a lot of leakers were coming out showing off genuine stuff. So Nintendo's like, fine, here's what it looks like. Oh, but we're not going to show off anything properly until the 2nd of April when we do a Nintendo Switch 2 Direct. So yeah, that's the big thing we're waiting for now. Next then, I wanted a Pokemon Legends sequel, and yes, we are indeed getting one coming out sometime this year. Probably after the Switch 2 was launched. And yeah, we're getting Pokemon Legends ZA, or ZA, whatever. While it's not what I wanted from my idea, which was going to be the history of Johto and the Burnt Towers, this one instead is going to be, was it Luminos City or something like that, from Pokemon Black and White, basically, Gen 5. It's going to be set in that city, and apparently only that city, so it's going to be interesting to see how that works and what mechanics are going to keep in from the original Legends game, what they're going to improve, and how that's going to look. We haven't had any information since they announced it, but I think there's going to be a Pokemon Direct in February. Is it Pokemon Day or something then? So hopefully we'll get some new information about that soon. Next then is Dino Crisis Remake / Remaster. And we haven't had that, but we have had Dino Crisis 1 released on PlayStation Plus. It was originally released so you had to have the higher tier in order to get it, but now anyone can just buy it outright, or if you've obviously got PS Plus, you can play it for free while you're subscribed. But yeah, so that's a bit of a start. And then the day I'm recording this, 1 and 2 just got released on goodoldgames.com. So that is awesome. I bought them, got them downloaded, installed, ready to play and test out. So it's not quite what I'm after, but it's a good start. Capcom are finally acknowledging that these games exist and people want to play them. Jesus Christ. I've only been yelling at them for 20 years. Next then was Twisted Metal. Still not yet, but apparently an online-only garbage game was cancelled, so that's actually a plus. So if we're going to do a Twisted Metal game, have online as a feature, but not the focal point. So yeah, we'll see if anything happens there. Then I wanted more PS5 exclusives, and I'm pretty sure the only one we got was Astrobot. Which was phenomenal. My game of the year, I think, from last year, probably. Amazing. But yeah, we're still just not getting a lot of, not just PS5 exclusives, but this gen exclusives. A lot of them are still coming out on older gens, which is a shame because they then have to make, what's the word? Brain fog and memory loss not helping right now. They can't make things as good as they could be for next gen hardware because they're also making sure it works on previous gen hardware. So yeah, we're still not getting those exclusives like we should, and PlayStation have such a huge IP library that they could be bringing out exclusives all the bloody time, and they just don't. It's a pain in the ass. Then we move on to Dragon Quest stuff. So I was hoping that Dragon Quest 3 HD 2D would get released in 2024, and it did, and I played it, and it's awesome. And then they also announced Dragon Quest 1 plus 2, the same package, will also be released in HD 2D in 2025 at some point, so that's awesome. Waiting on those now. I wanted Dragon Quest 12 information. Yeah, we've had absolutely nothing about this yet. maybe a surprise for the Switch 2 Direct, and Dragon Quest 12 will be not a launch title, I don't think, but it might come out within the first year, so maybe we'll get that. We'll see. Not sure what's going to happen that. And Dragon Quest Builders 3. No mention of this. Who knows if it'll ever actually happen, but we want it to. We really do. Then Legend of Heroes Trails stuff. So the first bit is I wanted a rough date for the next game releases. And we did indeed get that because we got Trails Through Daybreak released in 2024. Fun game. Probably my least favourite in the series, tied with Trails in the Sky 3. Still good, but just my least favourite. And then we also got a release date for Trails Through Daybreak 2, which is February 14th, so we're very close to that. There's also a demo out on PS4 and PS5, a story demo and a battle demo. Started playing it, it's phenomenal, cannot wait for the full game release. And then I was hoping for Trails in the Sky trilogy, some sort of port or remaster or whatever. And during a random Nintendo Direct, there was just a montage of random games coming out, and there was just like 6 seconds just flashed on the screen of Trails in the Sky remaster. It's just like, what? Why is there not more attention being put on that? Japan got a full feature of it, but we just got a little flash. Yeah, and it looks amazing. Trails in the Sky, finally in full 3D. Cannot wait for that. So that's coming out this year. So awesome on that. And then we had a random surprise East versus Trails Alternative Saga port coming. Ooh, the flippity floppity fuck was asking for that. I mean, it's just such a random title. I understand with the mainline games, some were in Japanese and finally getting English ports and things, but that? Yeah, got it here. The original Japanese PSP version. It's a fighting game with the East characters and Trails in the Sky characters. And can't say it's something I'm particularly fond of. I think there's also the cross-spell characters as well, sorry. But yeah, it's just such a random thing, but pretty awesome as well. I'm going to pick it up for my Trails collection. It's just so random. But I think one of the biggest reasons it is coming out is that the Geofront team, the awesome group of fans that did the English localization for Trails from Zero and to Azure, who got those officially released using their translation, they translated the East versus Trails game a couple of years ago, and yeah, they're using their translation once again to release this game in English. So yeah, awesome. Okay then. So that's what happened last year. Quite a lot of what I wanted did come true. So yeah, not bad. So for 2025, still Dino Crisis. I've always had remake/remaster written down here, but I think at this point it needs to be a remake. They need to take the modern Resident Evil engine and just do Dino Crisis in that. It's got to happen now. Capcom seem to finally be listening to us. We want Dino Crisis. They're giving us some versions of Dino Crisis. Now just go and do the full-on remake. We want it. We'll buy it. For the love of God, stop remaking Resident Evil 4. Twisted Metal, still wanted some sort of Twisted Metal game. The second series of the TV show is coming out at some point this year. It's probably going to do really well again. Capitalise on that with a game, but make it predominantly single player. Classic Twisted Metal. Online, as a feature in there, for people who want to go and play online against each other. Great. Hell, I'm not a big fan of online, but for Twisted Metal, I might dabble in that a little bit, but I still want the main focus of the game to be single player, or couch co-op at the very least. Online only, trash. Dragon Quest stuff then, still looking for that Dragon Quest 12 information. Come on, Square Enix, do something and tell us about it. Again, I'm thinking maybe, possible, we see it in the Switch 2 Direct. Don't know yet. And then Dragon Quest Builders 3. Just tell us you're doing it or tell us you're not doing it so we can just get on with our lives. But tell us something. Legend of Heroes Trail stuff. A rough date again for the next release, because there's a game after Daybreak 2 already out in Japan, and I think they're getting ready to release the next one after that. So just give us some basic information of when the one after Daybreak 2 is coming out. Will it be towards the end of the year this year, because they're doing a really good job of catching up fairly quickly, or is it going to be early next year? Just let us know. And with Trails in the Sky getting a remaster, let us know if we're getting 2 and 3, please. Because it would make sense, and it would be really stupid to not remake the other 2 parts of the trilogy, because then if you don't, we don't get the full story. So, yeah. And then the Gex trilogy. Where the fuck is the Gex trilogy? So, Limited Run Games are handling this. You know, they do it a lot of times with their Carbon engine, which basically like their own built-in emulator thing with, you know, fast forward and rewind and pause and save states and stuff. Updated graphics here and there, whatever. And they're doing it for a lot of old games, and it's cool. Yeah, I enjoy it. Limited Run Games are not the biggest fan of in general, because they're like, oh, physical forever, but what they really mean is physical for the 6 to 8 weeks we have you on pre-order, and then fuck you if you missed it. Yeah, so a bit of a pain in the ass, but I do buy a lot from them, unfortunately, because they're the only people doing these releases. And in 2023, they announced the Gex trilogy was coming out, and they said it'll be available for pre-order at the end of 2023. Nothing happened, nothing was said, because companies don't know how to communicate. Any of them. They're all useless at it. So nothing happened, and then mid-2024, they did their big showcase, showing off all the new games that they're coming out. There was Gex again, available for pre-order, fall 2024. It's almost February 2025, and shockingly, we haven't heard anything about it. So, when's it coming out? Just tell us, you know, if you're having problems with something, and it's taking time to fix, tell us, just communicate. It isn't fucking difficult. It really isn't. Yeah. And then lastly, I want to go over what I would like to see come out for the Switch 2 in the first year of its launch. So not specifically launch titles, because, you know, they only usually do a couple of sort of like big titles to get people interested, and then filter other games throughout the rest of the year. So obviously we're going to get a new Mario Kart. Pretty sure it's going to be a launch title, as they showed it off in that little reveal trailer for the Switch 2. It'd be crazy if they don't show it off. I've got some more notes here. Yes, so it looks like it's probably going to have 24 players at once, which is going to be awesome. Especially if they bring a lot of retro tracks back. There can be some chaos in certain tracks. I'm sure you know which ones I mean. It also looks like maybe we're going to have larger tracks rather than, you know, just lots of 3-lap tracks around small areas. Maybe they're going to do some of the bigger ones, like the F-Zero tracks were kind of just one long track, and those were really cool in Mario Kart 8. But maybe all of the tracks are going to be like that, I don't know. It just seemed that way just from this small clip that we've had from the new Mario Kart. We can't really sort of see where the track goes round and comes back, so maybe they're going to be bigger, I don't know. I've also been hearing rumours that it's going to have pit stops, which sounds awful, to be quite honest. I don't think I want that. I really don't. But the one thing I'm wondering is what the new gimmick is going to be, because they've always had some sort of new gimmick for the most part. So obviously the original came out Super Nintendo, then when it went to N64, I suppose the big gimmick of that was it was now in 3D. And then there was the one for the Game Boy Advance. Did that come out before the GameCube one? I don't remember. I think it did. And I think the big thing for that was retro tracks. They were the first game to include some retro tracks, pretty much from the Super Nintendo, because they were basically the same type of thing. Then, of course, Double Dash came out, the GameCube, and the big thing in that was 2 people in the kart at once, and the special weapons and abilities for each of them. DS version came out. There was the single-player mission mode in that, which was really cool, and I think that was the first one to go online as well. The Wii one, I suppose, kind of the main thing for that was motion controls and bikes. Yeah, Mario Kart 7 on the 3DS, they were kind of underwater a lot of time maps, and the ones with the gliders, they try to include more of that. Not a particularly great gimmick really, but the game's fine. And then Mario Kart 8 and 8 Deluxe, the big thing was anti-gravity. So what are they going to do next? I honestly have no idea, but I hope it isn't pit stops. Yeah. Then another game that I would very much like to see specifically as a launch title, because I think if this is announced as a launch title, there's a good chance I'll pre-order the Switch. Just Mario Kart alone isn't going to get me to pre-order. It needs to be another big title that isn't some Zelda game, because I don't like Zelda. So I would like to see the next 3D Mario game. But I don't want it to be a sequel to Mario Odyssey. Now, I love Mario Odyssey. It's one of my favourite 3D Mario games. Potentially, technically the best, because it is phenomenal, but I maybe prefer to go back and play Galaxy, for example, just because Galaxy just has that aura about it. It's just really, really awesome. But yeah, Odyssey's great. But we've had Odyssey, so let's move on to something new, because that's what they do with 3D Mario. Everyone's always like, oh, can we get Sunshine 2? Can we get Galaxy 3? Let's do Odyssey 2. It's like, it's fine to do sequels, I think, on the same system, like when they did Galaxy 1 and 2. When it comes to a new system, though, I want a new Mario. They've done that. Let's move on to something else. So let's do something new with Mario. What it'll be, again, like Mario Kart, I have no idea what the big gimmick would be for that. Yeah. So, is it going to expand on what we got for Bowser's Fury, for example? I don't know. That'd be pretty cool, or it could become something completely different. And then to appease Odyssey lovers without getting an Odyssey sequel, what I think they could do is similar to what they did with the Wii U and Switch with 3D World. Bring out a port of Odyssey to the Switch too, but include, instead of a new mode, include some new worlds for Odyssey. So you go to a new planet, all new stars to get, and most importantly, different enemy varieties for Cappy. Christ, can't remember the name of him. Yeah, for Cappy to take over and to control. So that could be the big thing to get players into it. Because everyone wanted Odyssey DLC or a sequel during the Switch lifetime, and we just never got it. So I think that'd be cool to have. Yeah. And then lastly, next, Captain Toad 2. I absolutely love the original Captain Toad game. Played the hell out of it on Wii U. I loved the little mini games that we had for Captain Toad in Super Mario 3D World. So when it was announced that was getting a full game, I was ecstatic. Game came out, it's fantastic. And then we've had a port to the 3DS and then to the Switch. They've included some DLC levels. Fine, but I think it's time now to make a full sequel to it. And I think it'd be perfectly okay to just do more of the same. Not everything needs to be new and improved. I think sometimes, and especially in this case, just more of the same is perfectly fine. I don't think they need to go out of the way to try and throw in some new big gimmick to this. Just more Captain Toad levels. So that's really what I want to see. And now, finally, lastly, so when they revealed the Switch, it seemed pretty obvious that the Joy-Cons are going to be able to be used as mice. And of course, when people think a mouse and Nintendo, they think Mario Paint. But we need more than just Mario Paint, because, the ability to play a photo editor basically on a console doesn't have that much appeal anymore, because computers are considerably more popular than they were in 93 or whatever, 92, 93, when Mario Paint came out. People can do this stuff on their phone if they want. So we, have the photo editing suite or whatever, the creative suite, like you would. Obviously, make it all new and updated and fancy. Have the Fly Swatter minigame thrown in there as well, and the music creator. But I think what would be cool to have to make it into a bit more of a game and a bit more appeal to more people is to throw in the sort of mix of what they did for the NES Classics remix series. So have a bunch of levels from classic NES games, and even SNES games now, finally. Surely they could do that. Individual levels, but have it so that certain parts of the level have been removed. And it's up to you then to use the mice to draw in your own platform or whatever to be able to complete the levels. It doesn't have to be huge. I think, maybe 30 to 40 levels or something basic. Maybe instead of just drawing one thing, like just drawing a block every now and then, be able to draw specific types of blocks, but just in the shape that you want them. So maybe you just have to draw a platform that's just a block, and then you can just draw whatever shape, and it'll just be, the block texture for like Super Mario Brothers. But maybe in another level, you'll need something that you can bounce on. So you'll have to select a bouncy object and then draw that, so then your character can then bounce on it and get higher or whatever. Something like that, and then, do it for multiple game series, different things that you'll be able to draw. And I think it would just better than just a basic Mario Paint for the Switch too, because we need far more than just being able to draw, I think, in 2025. So, those are my gaming wishlist items for the year of 2025. Let me know down in the comments below what you think of my list. Let me know what your list is for 2025, and I'll see you again next time.